Hello, welcome everyone to the Marr Show. Thank you guys for joining me for another fantastic episode. I reviewed quite a bit of Looney Tunes games over the years on this show, ranging from games on the Xbox to the PlayStation 2. There's so many different Looney Tunes games out there. I haven't played every single one. I always do enjoy going and playing them as I was a huge Looney Tunes fan back then. I still like them now, but not as huge compared to I was when I was a wee little lad. And if you were to ask me which was my personal favorite Looney Tunes game ever, I would still have to say one of the first Looney Tunes games I got to play, Duck Dodgers starring Daffy Duck. This was the first game that I reviewed here on the Marr Show, ranging all the way back to episode 2 of the series after I got done with my Trolley's all-new musical adventure. And the reason why I picked this one as my first game, as for one, not a whole lot of people really talk about it or even mention it. It's sort of a hidden gem, I guess you would say, on the N64. And I remember renting this a lot as a kid. I rented it every single time I went to my renting store that was local in town. And as the store was closing up to become a tanning salon, they were selling some of the games and movies. That way they can make space for all the tanning equipment and whatnot. And I'm lucky to say that I was able to buy my original copy way back then. This was years ago, probably like maybe 10 or 12 years ago, when they started selling off all the games and movies to become a tanning salon. So this is the original copy that I rented all those years ago. And I still enjoy the game a lot. While I know there may be some people out there that may say Bugs Bunny Lost in Time is better, or any other Looney Tunes game has more value or bigger emphasis and more gameplay time, but for me, Duck Dodgers 64 will always be a classic in my heart. And I just want to talk about it again, as I had this itch to revisit the game again and play it once more to collect all 100 energy atoms and have fun reminiscing of fun memories. Not to mention the gameplay for this looks really good compared to back then, so that's always a plus to go back and revisit and see how good the quality of footage you recorded is compared from all the way back then when I had Windows Movie Maker. But without further ado, let's go ahead and revisit Duck Dodgers starring Daffy Duck. Marvel the Martian is about to blow up Earth for the upgilling of time, but unfortunately as he's about to press the button, his cannon is out of energy atoms to power it up. So Marvin sends out his minions across 5 different planets to gather more energy atoms. Meanwhile at the Space Academy, they send Duck Dodgers in to collect the energy atoms before Marvin's minions do. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. Your Daffy Duck or Duck Dodgers going around planets E, J, N, P, and X collecting 20 energy atoms in each planet before Marvin and his minions gets to. The story is very simple, but really Looney Tunes aren't really about groundbreaking storytelling. It's about having a simple premise and seeing how many gags and funny lines and jokes that you could come up with these beloved characters. And there's a lot of great Looney Tunes gags and references that you'll see. Maybe it be like other Looney Tunes characters appearing in the background one way or another, or just seeing Daffy going berserk, seeing a giant diamond, and then realizing it's a trap. You play as Daffy Duck, obviously, or Duck Dodgers, my mistake, keeping character. But you're not alone on your journey. There's other characters that help you out along the way. The two that'll help you the most is Space Cadet Porky Pig, giving you advice and tips on how to play a game and how to traverse a problem. You also have Lola Bunny appearing once on each planet to give you an extra life. And this is still one of my favorite lines ever in the game, just how Daffy says this line.
Oh boy, I'm rich!
And if some of you can't find Lola to give an extra life, there are blue atoms around each level, and if you collect 50, you get an extra life. In each planet there are 20 atoms to collect, many of which you can easily get by platforming and exploring around each level, but there are some fun different ways to collect atoms as you go around each planet that have their own unique mini games and so on. There'll be some parts where you'll be switched into your first person view, shooting down robots, and these, I really have no idea what those things are at all. This could be fun, although it is somewhat challenging as I'm not the best in regards to FPSs. You may also get some fun equipment that can help you hover across the air, like this rocket launcher or this jetpack. And there's also some different mini games as well, such as sliding down to beat your best time in Planet P, or maybe you're shooting up basketball hoops, or even facing the evil tennis arcade game. I've always hated this one, as controlling the... I mean, it looks simple, right? It's a simple Pong game where you have 3 Daffy heads and you're supposed to get them across the other side of the goal, but controlling the analog stick with this, it feels like it is so slippery and it's not precise. Even if you go very slowly on the analog stick, it goes bonkers. I've always hated this part. However, this time it was actually really easy for me. After my second try, I was able to get the energy atom. Then again, you could call me cheating considering I'm using the Horipad 64, which ever since I got this a few years ago, I've been playing N64 games exclusively on this. It is a wonderful controller if you're worth paying an arm and a leg for. Actually, let's talk about controls for a little bit. Control-wise, it works pretty well, though there are a few camera issues, and then there's the ice physics in this game. Ice physics can vary between every single game, I know, but it feels like with the ice, it feels like it's pulling Daffy away from where he's wanting to go. Like if I want to climb up this steep slope, it feels like it's pulling Daffy back, and the only way to progress up is by jumping. And then when I get to the top to do a double jump, it feels like I didn't even press the A button twice. That was the only real part of the game that really let me kind of stuck in some places. Other than that though, the rest of the game is really easy. There's not a whole lot of challenge. To be fair, sometimes you don't need a game to be gradually difficult. Sometimes you can just have fun exploring the world and enjoy the atmosphere of each level. And all the planets are really good. There's some fun level designs that's challenging and exploring around to find all the energy atoms. Sure, when you do pause the game, it tells you how many atoms are on each level, which helps you keep progress to make sure, okay, I got the atoms in this section, but then to get them in this section, it's a really good reminder to help you out. And the environments really stick out in this game. There was a lot of beautiful imagery and some fun stuff that makes you feel like you were in another Looney Tunes cartoon. And the animation I think is good. Sure, some of the characters' faces are a bit blurry, but other than that, the animation on most of them are solid. Daffy's obviously the most expressive one, who has some of the more better bone movements and everything. And there were some parts with Daffy's animation that really left me laughing. For example, I'm in Planet E, I'm trying to get this energy atom that's in this small little crater in the lake, but there's a piranha that keeps biting, and seeing Daffy lose control for a bit, saying, "Save me!" It's really funny, it really is. And then whenever Daffy falls down from a really high height, you'll see Tweety, multiple Tweeties mind you, hovering around Daffy's head as he's unconscious. Actually, since I mentioned the environments earlier, I want to go ahead and briefly go through all 5 planets and talk a little bit about them. They're not that big, so I figured why not go ahead and talk about each planet you go on before I wrap up this review. Planet E is probably the most rememberable planet in my opinion. It's bright, colorful, has some fun levels to explore. I think Planet J has the best hub world, as you're in this New York square and you're going around and you see some atoms hanging up above a balcony and you get this dog that follows you around. Yeah, however, I was not expecting this to happen to me as I was about to wrap up the Rocky boss.
Oh, I think it crashed.
For Planet N, you don't really go to Planet N. Your ship is captured by Yosemite Sam's pirate ship, so you have to escape the prison, get all 20 atoms within Yosemite Sam's ship, so that way you can pilot off. For Planet P, it's probably the least memorable planet in my opinion. There are some interesting levels such as when you're in the pyramid exploring and going through a maze and so on, even though you face the most awkward boss ever, like, okay, I was not expecting this Stonehenge guy. And then there's Planet X, which is probably the most zaniest out of all the levels. Has some fun, interesting gameplay elements, such as when you go into these little portals and Daffy's running fast, or the zero gravity. Also, they reference Duck Amuck, which is one of my favorite Looney Tunes cartoons. And I know I mentioned the game crashing, but there was one glitch that happened as I was in Planet X that left me sort of puzzled. I'm in this one area where I'm being chased by the King! Or the Martians in this case. And as I was going through this tunnel that's spiraling around, and technically when the Martian, he's out in space, he's supposed to fall down, since there's no space for him to land on. But instead of falling, he's still following me, but from a different height. Like you can see he's still tracking me down, but yet he's a different level as I'm up on the platform. But then when I go into the other tunnel, I fixed it as he's in the same height as I am. It was funny, but it was very odd for me seeing that sort of happening within the game. And really, yeah, that's about it for Duck Dodgers starring Daffy Duck. It's a very simple game. It doesn't have a whole lot of hard challenges in it. Even the ice physics, even though that may be time consuming, isn't exactly the worst. In fact, I was able to beat the game in about 3.5 hours according to all my footage that I collected. And I know some people will easily compare this to Bugs Bunny Lost in Time, which is a very good Looney Tunes game, but has some similar elements such as going to 5 different time periods and collecting clocks so that you could get back to your normal time. And even though it's a very good game, I don't know, call me nostalgia blind if you want. I agree 100% with that statement. But really, I think this is a very hidden game in regards to not just Looney Tunes games, but also on N64 games as well. You don't really see this mentioned a whole lot. And I guess it makes sense considering the N64 has so many platformers. Some of them are considered the greatest platformers of all time. And while I'm not saying this is up to the lengths of Banjo-Kazooie or Super Mario 64, I still think it's worth mentioning this game for other N64 games for people to check out. And it is a fun, simple game. The levels are fun to explore, you get some fun Looney Tune gags along the way. I also enjoy the music as well. I'm not gonna say every tune is memorable, but at least 70% of the music is pretty good, I think. And the voice acting is solid as well. And while I know I was able to beat this game in about 3.5 hours, I still enjoyed playing through the game, collecting all the items, and experiencing this game once more again. It's a really fun game. I do recommend, if you somehow see this at like a yard sale or retro game shop or wherever, I do recommend picking it up. It is a fun experience. And that's all the time we have for today, folks. So if you would like to leave your thoughts on today's game, just comment below. And if you want to get Duck Dodgers starring Daffy Duck, you can easily get it anywhere. It is going up in price a little bit. I saw the cost going from $30 to $40, with the box a lot more higher. I do recommend picking it up though if you do get a chance to. It is a wonderful experience, and I think it's worth having within your N64 collection. But thank you guys for watching this, God bless yous, and I will see you all on the next Del Marr Show episode. Bye bye! In fact, you know what, I try not to reuse the same jokes over and over again when I'm doing revisits and so on, but I just loved how I did this joke the first time, and I just want to do it again. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the easiest one-up to get in a video game!